I'm Megan. I am the independent agency lead. Some of you guys might recognize me. I may already work with you guys. If not, hello. Hopefully we can chat after this at some stage. But today I will be talking you through 3 concepts every marketer needs to know in 2022. And it's very much, this presentation is very much built for the independent. So I do hope you find it interesting. If you have any questions, either shout out or you can ping me later. But the 3 sort of core concepts that I'll be taking you guys through today is the art of interruption. And we're going to focus on why interruption is a little bit different to disruption. The second concept is the need to diversify. We're going to focus on diversifying outside of the walled garden specifically. The third one is cookies. I know there's a lot of cookie fatigue chat. However, the more we talk about it, the more prepared we are. And obviously, I want to make sure that you guys are as tooled up as possible to be able to strategize against the third-party cookie. And then the fourth sort of concept is why should you guys care? Because why would you care? So the first thing we're going to talk about is the art of interruption, how it differentiates from disruption. But for us to really understand why we need to interrupt versus disrupt, we need to understand our past. So back in 1994, the world saw its very first banner ad, and that was purchased by AT&T on hotwire.com. And incredibly, this banner had a 44% CTR and it had a 30K price tag. We then hit 1997 and the first pop-up ad appeared on our screens. And as novel as it was, it didn't take long to quickly become a daily annoyance and frustration online. At the turn of the millennium, we saw Google launching AdWords, leading to what we now know as search advertising. And then this was very closely, or actually not very closely, but it was followed by Facebook about 7 years later in tandem with the rise of social advertising. And just like that, online advertising became a norm for our everyday existence. However, the sheer quantity and the poor quality of the ads also brought on the development of ad blockers, which by 2012 actually were installed by 50 million users worldwide. And the poor quality and the poor experience of these ads actually was what prompted the formation of the Coalition for Better Ads. But in 2022, people's tolerance for being disrupted online is, it's wearing thin, and we're becoming a lot more prone to the likes of banner blindness and cutting out the noise of advertising, especially when it comes between them and the content that they're trying to access essentially. I always like to describe our generation as Generation X. And by that, I mean that we're generation, I cannot wait to press X and get on with exactly what I'm trying to read online. But let's dive into some qualitative research that we found on disruption. To sort of source this research, Outbrain partnered with Sapio Research in the UK. And we ran a study with about 1,000 consumers. The first interesting stat that we found was that 95% of consumers feel negative towards a brand that disrupts their online activity. And if it does disrupt them online, 66% of consumers say that they ignore or literally entirely skip over it. Now, I know that the word disruption tends to be used in a positive context within the industry, and I used to use it all the time. In my experience, I use the word disruption within my strategies because I actually believe that disruption led to attention. But what use is attention when it doesn't actually lead to engagement, or if it doesn't lead to consideration off the back of it? Intruding on an online consumer's experience isn't going to win you attention. It's going to resonate negatively with your audience. But what you need to do is win a consumer over with actual engagement. And the way that you do that is moving from a push marketing concept to a pull marketing concept. Changing the formats that you've got to an opt-out, from opt-out to an opt-in. We want to interrupt them. We want to invite them to engage with your ad. Essentially, what you need to do is change your tactics from focusing on features of your brand or product to address the consumer's actual needs rather than solving their challenges. Well, not rather than solving their challenges. We want to solve their challenges. But research actually shows that pull marketing techniques, they drive 8 times 8 higher engagement rates than a push marketing ad. With native, we're very much a pull format. You've got your relevant creative, you've got your engaging headline, and then you've always got that call to action button to invite that person to find out more information. When you compare it to a display ad, I mean, every format has its sort of place on the plan. So it's not saying anything bad about display ads, but with display ads, obviously you do need to, put all of the information that you want that consumer to understand or to know, or, whatever action you want them to do within that really small MREC, or within that, the billboard or the skin. So it's a much different type of marketing technique when you compare it to push and pull. But I really encourage you guys to remember to be relevant, to be valuable, rather than just disrupting online experiences with no additional considerations. So I really like this slide. So from click to skip to click to watch. We all know it takes a very small amount of time to hit that skip ad button. It actually takes about 2.3 seconds before consumers click on the skip button. But I mean, think about it. Do you guys look anywhere else when you want to skip past an ad? I certainly don't. I just sort of like sit there and I'm staunching the skip ad button, just waiting to click it as soon as it allows me to. And I'm not saying this to slag off, who, we all know what that format looks like, but we all know it's true. But what if we actually let consumers decide? What if we allowed them to watch ads that they actually want to watch? And it's a weird concept. I'm gonna let that sort of sink in for a moment, because like why would someone click on something if they didn't actually want to watch it? So why don't we give them that opportunity to click what they want to watch? I can talk with experience about the power of an opt-in video format. It's actually one of our video formats that differentiate from even from our other native partners. But the click to watch format is a very special type of video format because it's combined with machine learning. It has relevant creators to sort of pre-qualify that target audience. And then we invite them to watch that relevant video. And in a result of that, it drives true engagement and translates to really high view through rates. I also like to describe the attention as active attention. There was a thought piece, and it was actually produced by Meta, and they talk about active attention versus passive attention. If anyone wants to read that, it's very interesting. I can send you the link afterwards. But this format really attracts that active attention, which is what we want for our marketing campaigns or our ad campaigns. So the second concept that you guys need to know in 2022 is the need to diversify the mix outside of the walled gardens. So I want to make this very clear. I'm not sitting here telling you guys to push all of your current spends out of the walled gardens and into Australian publishers. But what I am here to do is to instill your confidence into being able to achieve your brand and performance goals within Australian publishers and outside of the walled gardens. So why diversification? For the first time in its 18-year history, Facebook recently reported a decline on its daily active users, with a drop of 1 million daily active users from Q4 2021 compared to the quarter before. That's quite big, 1 million daily subscribers in one quarter. Now, I know that this percentage in the bigger scheme of things isn't huge, but what it does indicate is that there is a sort of a decline, but it also proves that there is a shift in consumer behavior that we sort of need to stay on top of. And this actually aligns with a trend that we've been noticing for a while here at Outbrain, as people move away from sort of the mindless browsing towards a more intentional and purpose-filled internet experience. But our global study with Savanta also affirms this trend, with several notable data points revealing a change in advertising, or sorry, a change in audience behaviors. So the next couple of slides is a roundup of some of the key takeaways that we have discovered in our Outbrain Savanta study. So the first one is 75% of consumers trust content and recommendations seen in an editorial environment. Like we said, we're moving away from the endless scrolling and we're having a more purpose-filled internet experience. And this is versus the 54% who trust the content and recommendations on the user-generated content of social media. The second key stat that we discovered is 21% of global consumers plan to spend less time on social media in the next 6 months. Yeah, I feel like there's quite a movement that's going on where people are having hiatuses from social media and coming back on, or deleting it completely. So like I said, it's not about pushing your money completely out of the walled gardens and completely out of social media, but it's ensuring that you're still reaching that person and diversifying the mix to be able to capture the attention of other people that are within your target market. And the third stat that we found is native advertising is considered the least intrusive form of advertising, while social feed ads are considered the most intrusive ad type, followed by display and paid search ads. And that literally just comes down to the push versus pull marketing technique, the opt-in formats, and it also speaks to the what do you say, the power of the editorial environment as well. So in response to these behavioral changes, marketers must diversify their marketing channels. And based on the Savanta research that I've sort of just showed you guys, there is a strong argument that this should include advertising directly on open web publishers, where more internet users are spending a lot more of their time and are actually receptive to recommendations. And it's all about that active attention versus that passive attention. We want to capture their attention while they're while they've clicked on something that they actually intend to read. We've actually got a couple of case studies across the board, across a number of different categories, where native has actually outperformed social media. We've got a whole heap of these studies. So if you guys want to connect up with me later, I can always pull one from the category or from a client, or whatever you guys want, to be able to prove certain stats to sort of diversify the mix here. But we've worked with Forever Rocher, where we saw an 28% increase on the time spent versus social media. So yeah, they spent more time on Outbrain ads versus social media. 100% increase on leads for Microsoft versus social. Brooklinen, a 200% decrease in CPC versus social. And then for our Samsung campaign, we had 2 times more engaged visits versus social. So like I said, we've got very in-depth studies about this if you guys are looking for certain categories or clients. I'm sorry, I had to put this in here because it just makes me laugh. But marketing channel diversification is key, and it isn't all about this guy. Alrighty, so talk about cookies. So I know I shouldn't be saying this, especially because it's being recorded, but when we were brainstorming with the team and they said we should definitely do a segment on cookies, I almost refused. I was like, I just feel like we've talked about this so much, because like I said before, if I'm feeling fatigue about the cookie chat, then you guys definitely are as well. But please stay with me, because like I said, the more we talk about it, the more tooled up you guys are. And I would be doing you guys a disservice if you didn't know all of the ways that you could potentially strategize against them. So here we go. So we all know the truth is our industry has needed better ways to personalize experiences and drive outcomes for a very long time. And although it seems like it'll be a lot harder to sort of target the right person or the right audience, the alternative solutions offer a way more relevant way to engage with your target audiences. For native specifically, from day one, native advertising was built for the cookieless, privacy-centric future. We've never had to rely on cookies to be able to give you guys really good granular solutions to your clients' KPIs. The ad tech industry as a whole has made significant investments into machine learning, AI, and different bidding strategies to really help identify, what audiences are interested in and how they actually behave online. Because it's one thing to know who to target and to be able to target them, but then we also need to understand how that person behaves as well, which I'll delve into in a second. So the three key pillars that underpin our strategy to capitalizing on a cookieless future. The first one is strict compliance and support of standards. So this includes ad fraud, being GDPR compliant. Obviously, we want to protect users. And then we also need to ensure that we hold high standard to protect people from sensitive content and categories online as well. The second one is investment into interest and context rather than relying on age, gender, and socio-economic status. We've made heavy investments into understanding what people find interesting, whether that be pet content, beauty, politics, finance, and then targeting them in real time based on the first-party data segments that we were able to collect. The last one is we've focused on machine learning and automation. So this doesn't just feed into how we understand what people find interesting or how we segment our first party data segments. This is about actually analyzing how people behave. And this is what separates ad tech to traditional methods of targeting. Being able to identify how they actually interact with formats, whether they just click on your ad or whether they respond to acquisition or whether they love watching video content and they tend to watch the whole video, or whether they actually click on the ad and then go to fill out a lead form. So we've got the ability with that machine learning and with that AI to really understand how they behave, which will obviously translate to being able to better achieve your brief KPIs. We've always believed that context and interests are the truest signals of content, and they do provide better ways to personalize the experience. The way that we personally at Outbrain personalize the experience is actually through our smart feed. So to be able to personalize the smart feed, we obviously use the AI, we use first-party data, and we obviously put in your granular KPI to understand, what you want them to do from after clicking your ad. And engagement is our greatest asset. So we're very lucky here at Outbrain. All of our publishers that we exclusively work with, we exclusively work with the Whole of the Nine Network, Fairfax, and Pedestrian. And all of those relationships are code on page relationships, which enables us to collect, first party data and segment them into interest segments. And obviously we've got the tech to be able to meet your KPIs as well. So if you guys have that really granular, CPL goal or that, cost per acquisition goal or return on ad spend goal, we're able to put that really granular number into our system and the system automatically works towards that as well. Yes. So this is a quote that actually came out of a thought piece that the head of sales here at Outbrain, Yuri, recently just published. It's not about the cookieless future, it's about the cookieless reality, because it's already here. You know, implement these cookieless solutions now. Test, learn, trial, you know, be ready to have those strategies in place. And I know that a lot of you guys already do this, which is awesome. But my job day to day is to help you guys achieve your campaign goals. And I'm seeing a lot of third-party requests to overlay that data. So stop it. So we've got a little bit of an intermission now. We've got a couple of prizes as well. So the prizes are, we've got event gold class tickets. You guys can go and see that new Doctor Strange movie if you want. We've got 6-month subscriptions to Spotify, and then we've also got a 6-month subscription to Audible. So I'll give you about a minute to scan the QR code, and it'll ask you to sort of fill in a couple of your details. There is a little box at the bottom that is pre-ticked, and that allows me to be able to obviously put you in the draw, but it also allows me to contact you guys after. So I would love the opportunity to be able to do that if you'd let me. So I'd really appreciate it if you left the box ticked. So yeah, I'll give you guys about a minute to scan the QR code and fill in your details. I'm really hoping that because there's quite a few of you, it doesn't crash like Nines did last night. I don't know if anyone was watching the great debate. I certainly couldn't get through to the website, but yeah, it took a while to get through. It was a good debate.
Who do you think won?
Who do I think won? Well, didn't they already announce the results? Wasn't it? It was like 50-50.
Is that what the audience thought?
Yeah, well, that's what one of my news apps notified me on. I'm pretty sure it was 50-50. It was originally 52% Lib, and then it was 48% Labor, but then they did a recount and it was 50-50.
Recount?
Yeah, there was a recount. It's all very serious, you know.
Well, I think it's given enough time for everyone.
That's enough time? Awesome. Well, good luck, guys. I hope you guys win. Alrighty, so we're coming to the end of it. Sorry, I won't take up the whole 45 minutes, but yeah, I'll give you guys some time back. But the last one is, why should you guys care? Why should you guys as independents care about all of this information that I've just told you? So there is a lot of blockers in our industry, and this massive iceberg represents all of the problems and the roadblocks that you guys had, whether that's ad blockers, under resourcing. I know that we've been under resourced purely because, you know, the borders being closed and everyone's you know, moving about and stuff, but you know, under resourcing is a massive problem. Selling in innovation, I know there's so many concepts that you guys work with us on where, you know, it's the best strategy ever, and the client's just not, like, it's not that they're sold in, but they're probably just a bit scared, which I find is, you know, frustrating for you guys and for us. You know, staying on top of industry trends, like this industry is continuously changing. I know that just within Outbrain, we have a Slack channel where, you know, innovation is always being updated, and it's so hard to keep on top of it. So I can't even imagine what you guys are feeling out there with all of these different types of technology to be able to utilize. Obviously, we've got the cookies diminishing, there's pixel privacy. I love it when clients come to us and they go, we've got a cost per lead goal and it's this and it's that, but then they don't allow pixels. So it's like, okay, how can we combat that? Obviously there's compliance, and then lack of access to research as well. But if I was traveling towards this big iceberg, I would much rather be the speedboat, you know, the agile speedboat, rather than the big ship that we've got there. You know, history has told us that they don't turn very quickly. So I really see you guys as those speedboats. I personally love working with indies. I find that you guys are so close to your clients. You're so willing to A/B test and try and like squeeze out the best results for your clients. So I already see you guys as these nifty little speedboats. But I just want to encourage you guys to be that speedboat, use the right tools, and get the right results. But is native the answer? I don't know. Well, we're about to find out. So I believe that native is the answer. The first reason why is because of the efficiency and the ROI that we're able to produce for you guys. So as I said before, our algorithm uses machine learning to be able to prospect audiences and to be able to get the best results for you guys. So if you've got that specific cost per lead goal, or you've got that return on ad spend percentage that you're trying to achieve, we're able to put that into our system and efficiently optimize towards that. You can work on a fully automatic system where it just purely lets the algorithm do the work, which is what we recommend, because unfortunately these days robots and machines are smarter than, or more efficient than humans. So we've got the efficiencies there. We're able to stay ahead of market trends. So we're lucky because we are a global company. We are headquartered in New York, which means that we've got an abundance of resources to be able to delve into specific trends and research and all that sort of stuff. So if there's anything that you guys need, we're constantly doing research. So we're able to share that with you guys as well. We produce those quality results. So my bread and butter has always been traditional media prior to working for Outbrain. And of course, every medium has quality results. But I really like being able to work with you guys at Outbrain, because we're able to really report on those results, those quality results, those real insights into the campaigns that you're able to feed back to your clients and, produce really even better strategies than the original one that we came up with. We've got a lot of product innovation as well. I'm actually going to delve into the product innovation in the next 2 slides, so I'll just leave that one there. Outcome driven and engagement platform, like I said, the CPL, the CPAs. We've got fast decision making. So all of your campaigns that you guys are running with us, of course, they're fully automated, and it is the best way to be able to hit your KPIs. However, we've got a dedicated account management team who literally go into your campaign every second day and make sure that we're squeezing the absolute most out of your campaign efficiencies. We're able to analyze what creatives are performing best, or what targeting methods are performing best, and just funneling the spends into the right or the best performing sort of targeting lines. And then, like I said before, we've got those data and insights that we're able to sort of, report back to you guys as well. All of the nitty gritty stuff that we love. But in terms of product innovation, obviously we work on a bidding model. For ages and ages, our main sort of bread and butter was our conversion bid strategy. It's where we use a pixel and we're able to identify, who's filling out your lead forms, who's actually putting things in the cart, all stuff like that. But in the last month or so, maybe even more, maybe 2 months ago, we actually released our engagement bid strategy, and that is a pixelless solution. So what we actually do is we connect our dashboard with your Google Analytics platform, and what that allows us to do is to understand, or actually it enables us to be able to optimize towards the highest quality click with the lowest possible CPC. So we can optimize towards pages per session, page duration, to make sure that click is of the absolute highest quality. I know that you guys are always looking for cookieless and pixelless solutions. So the engagement bid strategy, we've run about 2 or 3 tests now, and we've seen some incredible results with it. So it's definitely one to test. And the second one that I'd like to talk to you guys about is the smart logic technology. So as you know, our partners use Outbrain as a place for discovery placements to drive results across a spectrum of different goals. Today, finding the blend of cards requires a predefined setup. So as a result, partners must make sort of trade-offs as to, you know, how and where they'll be featured on the page, whether it's their paid or in organic or their own sort of commercial messages within the feed. But we're now set to transform how we strike that right blend. And we've done this by introducing a new sort of infrastructure behind Outbrain placements that we actually call Smart Logic. But at the heart of Smart Logic is a dynamic KPI engine. And what that does is automatically selects the right card format, the right blend, the right UI to adapt and deliver to your goals in real time. So there's 3 ways that you can actually do this, or there's 3 key ways that it does this. So the first one is it optimizes the card selection. So what that does, or what the main goal of that is to drive the highest organic CTR and RPM, and it does that by optimizing the best performing card formats. The second one is optimizing the card blend. So what that does is it adjusts for the KPIs, and it does this by dynamically blending the right card and ratio in order. And the last one is optimizes towards card UI. And this applies a subtle yet impactful UI personalization to the card formats. So essentially what Smart Logic provides is the most engaging, dynamic, and highest yielding discovery feeds to tackle the challenges of the open web. By powering truly smarter feeds, Smart Logic is already increasing engagement rates and RPM lifts by over 20%. So obviously higher click-through rates means that consumers are interacting more with Outbrain's recommendations. They're attracted to the layout, the presentation, the format choices, and if their preferences change over time, Smart Logic automatically adjusts in that response. So this goes back to the machine learning, understanding how people behave rather than targeting that audience. But yes, that is Smart Logic. And that is actually it from me.